Hey there, everyone. Gretchen Wegner here, academic life coach and creator of all things anti-boring for students, families, and educators. But today I just had a parent question that I thought was worthy of a video. And so this video is both for this specific parent, but also I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel because I think everybody else will be interested as well. So the question is, how do we measure success in academic coaching? And this parent, hi to you, is rightfully asking, like, how do we know whether coaching is working or not for our student? And how can we have measurable goals? And they acknowledge that certainly the strength of the relationship between the coach and the student is important and not quite as measurable. But what are the measurable possibilities? So I'm going to share a little bit in this video about how I think about measurable results. And then I recommend all parents identify with their coach, like, what are a couple things that you all find most important that you would like to try and measure. And then I have a habits and grades graph that I create for all my clients. And then we can make sure that those specific measurable items are on that graph over time. So let's look at this a little bit. Here's my whiteboard. It's a little messy, but it's going to guide me through this conversation. When I'm working with students, there are a couple of different areas, right? There's generally executive function. That's what EF stands for. And so that's time management, organization, and all kinds of other follow through kinds of tasks. And then there's specifically study skills. How well is the student actually improving in their ability to think about their own learning and to take more and more responsibility for their learning by applying all of the study tools and strategies that I provide. So in both of these different categories, there are about 5 different things that I look for to know whether a student is doing well. And so I want to talk through them one by one. The first one, I underlined the word articulate right here. Can the student articulate what tools they know and are learning, what tools are in their toolbox, and when to use different tools? So just articulating, like having that knowledge, is a step in the right direction of success in coaching and is something that can be measured. The next one here is, can the student show proof that they're using any of these tools, whether that's a planner or whether it's like flashcards as an example? And not just flashcards, but like how well they're using the flashcards. So can they articulate, Gretchen taught me to use flashcards in this way because of X, Y, and Z, and here's proof that I'm doing it. And also then proof that it's working for me. That actually comes down here for number 5 under grades. The third thing here is that student able to follow through with less and less intervention from me or their teacher or the parents? So we want, with some students with extreme executive function deals, they're never going to be intervention free, but is there less and less intervention, or is the way that intervention is happening, is it shifting to be more and more practical and less emotional and explosive, right? So that would actually be another way we could look at the type of intervention and how that's shifting. And then number 4 here is the student's mistake recovery faster. Ooh. Sneeze. Yeah, so is their mistake recovery faster? Are they able to, all students are going to make mistakes, especially students with ADD and ADHD and all sorts of other EF deals. So to what degree do they spot a mistake, and to what degree can they recover from the mistake? And so I mean, if we're looking for measurables, I mean, it's kind of hard to count like minutes, but do they catch the mistake? Do they articulate the mistake to the parent before the parent has caught the mistake? Do they then articulate the plan that they made to recover from the mistake? Or maybe the parent still found the mistake, but does the student make a plan themselves that with less and less emotionality around it? So these are things we can look at and find ways to count and measure if we want to. And then this last one here is we can count grades, like grades are a number. So sometimes grades are a good measure. And specifically if we know study skills are an issue, then I like to not just look at the overall grades, I like to actually track on my grades graph actual tests and quizzes for the problem classes so that we can see what's happening with that. And or is the missing work going down? Those are countable numbers as well. So this is one way to think about what's measurable in coaching. I have a couple other whiteboards though for you. Another thing that I like to look at is the stages of competency. Now, unfortunately, in this model, we're going to be using the word incompetent, which is not a very friendly word. I need to find a better word. I just didn't take time to look on the thesaurus. And in this model, this is the word they use. But with this model, students start, or all of us start when we're building a skill at unconscious incompetence. We don't know what we don't know. And then we transition into conscious incompetence. We know what we don't know. And so that's why I said earlier that a student can articulate what's happening. They can articulate their mistake. They can articulate what tools they might use to fix the mistakes. And that piece that I just mentioned is moving into conscious competence. Can they articulate how they're using it? Can they show proof that they're using that tool? Eventually, we want students to get to the unconscious competence. So where you're just able to do things like use your planner without even thinking about it. You just automatically make your quizzable study tool for the test without even thinking about it. But that often happens. I mean, it happens with some things during coaching, but it takes time to get there. Usually with many clients, I consider it success if we've moved from here to here in some regards, and then from here to maybe this transition to where this arrow is here. But in not all skills with all students are we going to get to total conscious competence. But in some, we will be able to. So usually success in coaching is if we can see students moving through these different transitions, then I know it's working. So then there's a final whiteboard that I created, because sometimes we can measure success by looking at the student. Everything that I've just mentioned is student-centered. However, it can be really helpful to look at the parent as well, not just the student's behaviors, but the parent's behaviors. Are you feeling the need to nag less? Do you have more tools and strategies for how to talk to your student about their learning? Are you noticing that you're more curious and less, I don't know what the other word is, judgmental? Is that the right word? And so you're able to approach them with less emotionality, just like we were talking about the students' emotionality, and more curiosity. So what are the measurable results that you're looking for in your own behavior as well? This is a really big one. I just had a client, I'm making this video at the beginning of the school year in 2020, and I just had a client who said that her dad, they're starting the school year and he's just hands off. There is no following up, no reminders, no anything. I've been with this client for a year and a half. And that says to me, so this will be by the time we're done with the school year, if we stay together for this full school year, it will be 2.5 years. And that says to me, oh, something is shifting that's really working in this family. And maybe we're now ready over the course of this semester to back off of coaching a little bit more and to wean that family. I did some intensive work with this parent on on some behavior change that he needed to be able to do to be less vigilant over his student. And we are now seeing the gifts of that. And so I might be able to wean the student off of coaching now as well. Often students are ready to end coaching before parents are. Parents need more support with the weaning. Anyway, I know that this may be a little bit of a frustrating answer because I didn't name some really clear categories, but I think what I may like to do is just use this video for all of my new clients, and then ask if there are some very specific measures that would be really satisfying to you all as parents. Um, and for us to work together to make sure that we're building those measures um, into our work together, so that we have some numbers that will feel satisfying to you as we work through them. If anybody has any other ideas, if there are other coaches out there listening who have other things that you use to measure, please let me know. I would love to hear it. And take care, everybody. Bye bye.